Hello and welcome back to the Macca's Talk Hockey podcast, the podcast where me and my brother Charlie talk about English ice hockey, specifically the NIHL, the National Ice Hockey League. We're joined by Charlie and Dan this week. We're back together as the trio. How are we doing, lads? It's been a long week of hockey.
Yeah, it was
I'm
good.
all good.
I had a nice day in London yesterday.
Mm.
Had a nice day out in London. We had a all you can eat meat buffet.
Oh, yeah, I saw it. It was
So
huge.
we were scranning so much meat, and then went to a rooftop bar as well.
How
So
much did that set you back?
the rooftop bar was about £7 a pint, which isn't too bad for London.
Yeah.
And then the food was £32 a person. So
Oh,
But you did get a lot of meat. I saw
oh
the
dear.
pictures actually, and you got massive skewers of them. So while you were in London, me and Dan actually went to a game which wasn't the Wildcats because the Wildcats had the day off, and it was a decent little game. But we'll go into it in a bit. There isn't actually too much news today. The only ones I've got is Streatham have won the league. It wasn't as easy as it has been the last couple seasons. I think Slough were there and thereabouts, but Streatham have just gone off and they've won it. But Slough, Charlie or Dan, one of you told me the average age of Slough. What is it again?
it's like 21, 22.
22, 23 years
He
old, I
won't
think.
sign players. I think the oldest player in the team's 26.
So,
Yeah, you
Um,
don't like signing players above the age of 25 or something like that.
yeah. So the fact that they kept on par with a Streatham side who has many older players, more experienced players, is quite good. But
they
you
needed
think
lids in my eyes.
Yeah, you'd think if they did have a few experienced players alongside those younger players who have smashed it this year, the likes of Muir and Goodchild as well, he's done really well. And then you've got Jacob Minton as well, who come into the Wildcats on Friday. You think if they had a couple of experienced players, Dan, they could have gave Streatham an even harder battle at the top.
Yeah, definitely. It might be something for them to look at in the future to see how close they were, and maybe they might sort of give in to keeping that under 25 thing. They might
Yeah.
bring in a few older guys and
Well, they didn't
just
have
to
a
level the
single
ship a little
import.
bit.
I think they were rocking zero imports as well. So it was just a bunch of English young lads playing hockey, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
they seem to be loving it as well. They seem to be
yeah,
winning the games, so can't
yeah.
can't argue with that.
I can't speak too much on the leagues below because we don't watch them too much, but we keep up with the scores now and again. The National Cup final dates have been announced, and it's not actually till the end of March. So the first game is in Hull on the 20th of March, and that's a 7:30 face-off. And then the second game, the second leg, is the 26th of March on a Tuesday at 7:45. And I think depending on what the score is in the first leg, I might go down to the second leg. I don't know about you boys. I think it really depends on that first leg. Because if MK batter him, I don't fancy going to the second leg. I'm not gonna lie.
And the game is on
Yeah,
a
I could be
Tuesday.
could be
Yeah,
So
tempted,
yeah.
maybe.
A Tuesday night at 7:45. What, we won't get back till about 11, 12 o'clock. And I know you boys have work
we
in
have
the morning.
we have work, and we'd have to go. I'd have to go straight from work, and yeah, don't want to see. Well, come on, Hull. As I said to Matty Davies, I'll say as it is. I don't care. I want Hull to batter them. So
It would
good
be
luck,
the
Hull.
underdog story, wouldn't it? Hull obviously last season, Dan, were right at the bottom of the league, and then I know they've brought in a few players, a few really good players. But that would be quite the story if they can come beat Milton Keynes, and they would have had to beaten Leeds and Milton Keynes to win the trophy if they can do it. So that would be some story, wouldn't it, Dan?
Yeah, it wouldn't be an easy path, and they if they do it, that's a very good little cup run that they've had. And obviously, I think Matty said in before the season he wanted to go for the cup,
Yeah,
and he wanted to go for them trophies. And obviously, like I said, Hull are a team that would do on paper look like they can do well in the cup,
yeah,
and they're proving it at the moment. So I don't see why they can't go all the way.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
pressure's on Milton Keynes. That's
yeah,
all I'm saying. They
100,
have
pressure
to win.
is.
100%.
They have to win.
We'll
It's
I think
definitely.
always
they
on
will.
them.
I do think they will. I will say it. Do you
Yeah.
think Milton Keynes will take the win? I'm sure that. Oh yeah, I'm gonna say this on the pod because this frustrated me in a week. Nathan Ripley has played one game for MK, and that happened to be the cup semi-final. I'm all for signing players for reasons. But if Nathan Ripley's going to play 4 games all year and 2 of them are going to be cup finals, one of them's going to be a semi and one of them's going to be a one-off league game, I think that's wrong. I do. Yeah. I think bringing in a player just to play a cup semi-final is wrong. We might as well bring in Crosby. Like,
yeah, it's a loan. It's kind of a loan signing, isn't it?
I don't think it's right that he's come in and he's going to play about 5 games this year, and them games are going to be cup semi-finals and finals. I'll put it out there. I'd love to know what everyone else thinks, but should you be able to sign a player and he plays under like 5-6 games for your team, but he plays in the big, most important games of the season? I don't think that's the reason MK won. I think they won fair and square. Yeah. I'm not against that. I'm just against signing players for 2 or 3 games and they play really, really important games for you.
No, I do agree.
I looked at that and I just thought he's not played a game since Swindon. It's been 2 weeks. He's probably not going to play many league games because he plays every game for Coventry. He's not going to qualify for playoffs because he wouldn't have played enough games.
That's what.
So he's literally going to play cup final, cup semi-final, and maybe 2 league games.
That's my point. If there has to be a cut-off, you have to play a certain amount of games to play in the playoffs at the end of the season. Should there be a certain amount of games you have to play to participate in any cup semi-finals and finals, Dan? Do you think that should be a rule? Because they are the only team, I know they can do it because they've got the money, but they are the only team, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, who has just brought in a player who's just playing those odd games. I know Coventry have dibs, but it's funny, as Charlie said, it's funny that he just played that game against Swindon.
Yeah, I think obviously playoffs you're going for a trophy, cup you go for a trophy. I suppose you say for league you're going for a trophy as well. But these one-off games, I think, there should be a little thing saying that you have to play these certain amount of games to participate in these games. That could be something that they could bring in, but all depends on obviously the NIHL and how they look at it.
Yeah, as Charlie said, that isn't the reason that they've beaten us, just because they brought in Ripley, because they did beat us fair and square. And
I wasn't on last week's podcast. Fair play to MK. You did really well. You deserved the win. You broke my heart when I was watching that game. They played really well. Their big players stepped up when they needed to. Stewart scored a really nice goal to win it. And to be fair, when we had the pressure on them after that power play goal, they managed to cope, suck up the pressure for the rest of the game, and they managed to take it to OT. But like I said, fair play to them, but I do think the Nathan Ripley thing's wrong.
Yeah. That's a good explanation. I don't mind that. We do actually have a guest on the podcast, a special interview with Coy Prevost. Now, a lot of people can't pronounce his name right, but he has pronounced it for us. He let us know. It did actually take us 2 takes when introducing it, did it, Charlie? But we did get there in the end. So it is Coy Prevost who's joined us for an interview, so we'll cut that after we speak about the Raiders. As I said, there's not too much news actually, unless I'm missing something very obvious. But there's been some very, very interesting results, and a lot of results which I don't think a lot of people would have expected this week. And a lot of results for the teams at the bottom. So we'll get into it. And the first big one was Friday night, and it was a 2-0 shutout for the Sheffield Steel Dogs against the Wildcats. And yeah, Dan, the Wildcats, that's probably the flattest they've looked, the slowest. And Sheffield deserved it, didn't they? They defended really well. And as a team, considering they were missing a few players, I know we were missing Aaron and Bully, I think it was. But as a team, Sheffield, they deserved it, didn't they? And they got the shutout. And that's the first time the Wildcats have been shut out this season.
Yeah, 100%. It was a typical Friday night game. Yes. Everyone had come from work. Everyone was sort of just on their last legs of the week. And obviously had to play a hockey game. But Sheffield, they defended as a unit the whole game. They obviously, Crow was having a really good game and they protected him all game. And they backed up his unreal performance as well. He saved everything that came at him. I suppose you could say Swindon could have maybe tested him a bit more. But obviously on the night, you'll take any saves you can, and Crow proved that he could step up when needed. So
yeah, 44 saves, the whole team. A 44 save shutout. I did think, Charlie, it was an unreal shutout, by the way. He did make some really, really good saves, but I think the majority of the shots were just straight at the pads. They weren't quick enough. We were just a bit too slow and lethargic. Do you think we maybe went into the game expecting we're going to win this game so we could take our foot off the gas, maybe?
No, I don't think Swindon do that. I think Swindon go into every game knowing what they've got to do. I just think we were flat. Our big players weren't good enough. We didn't. The big players didn't turn up. We needed someone who could put the puck in the back of the net. I think that the Saturday night kind of showed. We just weren't very confident in front of goal.
Hmm.
Like we did the same against Hull for 40 minutes. We struggled to find the back of the net. We were struggling to get the shots in the right areas, and I thought Sheffield game management wide were perfect. They played two line hockey with two pair D, so they almost played 14 players the whole game.
Hmm.
But they played a really good game. They played a really clever game. They were really tactical, and a lot of our top players couldn't find the net on the night, and that cost us. We had 44 shots, but I was saying to Jar, I can't really remember any huge chances where I was like, how on earth did he miss that? So credit to Sheffield, they really did. They really did nullify us, but Swindon just were half asleep for the game, to be honest. And it'll be one we just put behind us and we moved on, and we showed that the next night because we showed a lot of fight, we
Yeah.
showed a lot of resilience, and we managed to get a result.
Well, we'll go on to Saturday. We'll get Swindon out the way because I'm sure we've got much more to say about the other teams. But the next night on the Saturday, we had another home game, making up from the games we missed at the start of the season with the Link Centre being shut. We played the whole Seahawks and we did beat them 2-1. And actually, this weekend, Dan, I know offensively we didn't look as strong as we have done since moving back to the Link Centre, but defensively, Rennie Marr looked really good. Tyler Perry looked really good Friday night. Really, he conceded one
It was
goal.
really good, yeah.
And Rennie looked really good on the Saturday. He made some incredible saves. And defensively, I thought it was one of our better weekends, but we still only come away with 2 points, didn't we?
Yeah, no, I was gonna say a shout out to Tyler Perry. He made some really big saves. And yeah, like you say, it's just a shame that the offense wasn't sort of as
Yeah.
good as the defense. Like the one time that the offense is sort of not like playing 10 out of 10, the defense is stepping up.
Yeah.
And it's like, like it's just what you wanted. If the offense was playing the game that they can and having the defense like that, you're unstoppable. But it's always having them, both of them firing on all cylinders at once, and
Yeah.
that's the tough bit.
Yeah.
But a win's a win.
I was a bit disappointed with Hull actually, and we'll talk about them on the Sunday as well because they lost 5-4 to the Bees, and we were at that game, weren't we, Dan? It just didn't look like the Hull we've seen in that 10-win streak they had. They didn't look as clinical. They didn't look as deadly. Were they missing Lee Bonner? I know he's a very big top six player, but they still had the likes of Svek, Chamberlain, Sobchak, obviously Brock and Barmer, but they just looked a bit flat this weekend, didn't they, Charlie?
I thought they were okay against Swindon, to be honest. I thought they played quite well against us. They had some good chances. They weren't fully clicking, no, but they defended well. And they lost 2-1, and the two goals they conceded was one with 10 seconds to go and one was a delayed penalty. I don't know about the Bees game. It looked like they were a lot flatter in that game. I thought McLaughlin played well. I thought Barmer, I've said this on the pod now, I think Barmer's the best British defenseman in the league. I really do rate that guy like Mash. He could generally play 60 minutes.
He could, yeah.
And he'd
I
somehow
that.
do it. He's really good. Brutton, again, podcast guest, thought he was really good. Chamberlain and Salem, they're good again under people's skin. I love them. I find them funny. I had a joke with Mike Davies. I said, anyone in the league would take them boys. They said they're great at what they do. But offensively, they just couldn't get going. But I think defenses counted each other. I think the next night, which you guys watched, was probably a worse Hull performance.
Yeah, we'll go on to that because I don't know what it is because they did when they were back in their place, Dan, and they beat us. What was it, 6-3? I think it was
7-2. I think
7-2. Sorry, they looked really, really solid, didn't they? And they just dominated that offensive zone. And I think they were dominating the possession. They had the more possession against the Bees, but they couldn't create them clear-cut chances to really score until right at the end, where they finally put the pressure on and the bouncers are falling their way. And yeah, maybe it's just a case of, okay, they did get them 10 wins in a row, but again, anyone could beat anyone. They've been pegged down a level, and maybe their top players didn't perform as well as they have done, especially in that Leeds game as well, which they beat them in the cup.
Yeah, I mean, I've obviously been to 3 of their last 3 games now because I went to their game in
Oh,
Romford as
yeah.
well. And yeah, it looks like a totally different whole team to the one that I saw against Swindon. They seem to be really struggling to hit the net at the minute.
Hmm.
Obviously, we saw it against Slough, bees. They missed the net quite a lot.
Yeah.
Um, I think obviously having the two pairings of D doesn't help at all either.
Hmm.
I really noticed that in Romford mainly, not so much in Swindon because they had that third D pairing of Fisher and Wilcox that sort
Wilcox,
of
yeah.
played a little bit. Um, but yeah, it's just they've struggled to hit the net. We saw Matty Davies was getting a bit frustrated when
Yeah.
they kept putting it over the bar. But I mean, it happens to every team. They go through little patches of winning
Yeah, I
all these
agree. Yeah.
games and then losing them. But the thing that Hull are going to focus on now is they don't keep this going until that cup final.
That was my
They
next
need
point. Yeah.
they need to keep they need to get some momentum from somewhere. They need to keep it going all the way through them games because
Yeah.
they'll be wanting to battle for that.
I'm not sure how long Bonner's got left. He might just have 2 more games left. I think he's already been out for 2 or 3 weekends, so he might have 2 more games left. You made a good point yesterday as well, Dan. They won't want to pick up any more silly bans going into that final because they do not want to lose any of their key players. Because Milton Keynes, I know they won't want to, but if they do lose a couple players, they have got a couple to bring in. Ripley, so like they can afford it, but Hull can't, can they? Their big players are the ones that they need in that final. It seems like those are the ones that stepped up against Leeds in the semi-final. And before we move on, just a quick shout out. I actually met Brock Bartholomew's parents who came down from Edmonton, where I'm actually going on Tuesday. And Brock's dad came up and spoke to me, and I spoke to his mum at the end. And really nice people. They said they love the pod and they like that we just keep it real and we're not biased and we don't take no shit. So big
We're
up
not
to
biased. I'm not biased. I'll tell you
well,
that.
Charlie can't be, but they said that we say it how it is. So big up to Brock Bartholomew's parents. And I hope you have a safe trip back on Tuesday. I'm not actually on the same flight as him, even though we are flying out on Tuesday. So yeah, big up to them. Let's move on then to the Raiders. The Raiders getting a 4-point weekend, and they get 4-point weekend, Charlie, at the best time possible, where they're battling for playoffs, and they're really coming alive now, aren't they? They beat the Tigers 4-2 on the Saturday, and then they pumped the Steel Dogs 9-1, which makes our shutout loss look even worse, doesn't it? If they're able to put 9 past them in Sheffield.
All I'm saying is we did our interview with Prevo on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Goes and bags a 4-point weekend. Hockey players, you need to get on a Macca's tour hockey because you get 4-point weekends after playing with us. Apart from maybe a couple, but we ignore them. But with Raiders, they're getting going. It was quite cool to see Jasper Eriksson.
Hat trick hero on the Sunday.
He didn't impress me too much when I've watched him, but bagged a hat trick against a team which shut us out. So fair play to him.
Yep.
And they're getting going. They're getting cooking. Jake Sylvester, he is cooking. He has got a snipe.
He got a hat trick as well.
I think they played Zach Milton, Jake Sylvester, and Leishram on a line, which that line just is so sick. And then I think they play Norcliffe, Connolly, Anderson, and then they have Ericsson on their third line, which is just their depth in attack and defense is really good. And they look like they're doing what they did last year, where they come hot at the end of the season and then they go, "Oh, we're ready for playoffs." So I have a feeling they're going to finish 6th or 7th. So we're going to have a fun one when we hit them in playoffs because they're not going to be easy. And I think Telford have dragged themselves into the mix as well. So could be a fun one for the playoff race. And annoyingly for Romford as well, is B's got 3 points, and the other team, whoever they are, 3 points. Solway 3 points. So they only gained a point, but it's the momentum, isn't it? They are really getting on rolling now, and no one wants to play them really.
Yeah, Dan, obviously the Wildcats played a really good game against them the other week. You then saw them smash the Seahawks. It seems like their lines now are really clicking. They haven't got any injuries, I don't believe. They might have a couple D-men injuries, I'm not sure. But they've got the full squad. They've got the 3 imports now. Ericsson's starting to hotten up a bit, get used to the league. And when a new import is finding the back of the net, we saw it with many imports. Feezy, he started lighting it up. When Svek first came to Swindon, he was lighting it up. Teams don't really know what Ericsson's about. And if he's lighting it up early going into playoffs, this can only be a good thing for the Raiders.
Yeah, I think now they're finally sort of getting a settled roster. They've had a lot of people leave, a lot of people come in throughout the season. And now they're finally starting to get a fixed roster. So Sean Easton can sort of look at his lines. He can put his lines out properly
Yeah.
instead of thinking, oh, this player's not going to be here, this player's going to leave soon. Bringing in this guy, don't know how this guy's going to play. They all know how they play. They've all trained together now and they're really starting to click, and you can see it when they play.
Yeah.
They're a proper force. So, like their depth is unspoken of really how much depth they
Yeah.
actually have. You don't really you sort of look over it a lot, but when you actually look at them on the ice, their depth is unbelievable. Like they've got like Novak, like Charlie was saying, they've got Novak and stuff on a third line, and it's like he could get on most teams' top six easy, and
Yeah.
they will be a force 100%.
And they've got their whole system is so good because you talk about that third line with Novak. They got Alif on that third line. He can go into a fourth line as well. I think Alif, we talked about him last week. He's really underrated. Then on a fourth line, you've got Jackson, a veteran of the league. You've which Prevo talks about. You got Ranson as well, and you've got one of the young lads, Tomalin. You got Brindley Caps as well. So they got a really nice little roster, a really nice up and coming team as well. You got Pascal on the back. So yeah, really, really good. Really positive for them. Are we all in agreement that they 100% should be in the playoffs out of those three teams?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
but
so.
who
Yeah,
knows what this league brings,
yeah.
man?
Who knows? But
Yeah.
on paper,
Yeah,
they should really. We'll cut to the interview because it is a really, really good interview with Prevo. He's probably the chillest, most calmest guy we've had on the podcast, isn't he, Charlie?
yeah, he's a relaxed dude.
Yeah. We'll cut to it now. So we have another guest on the podcast. Charlie, do you want to introduce him?
Yes, we'd like to welcome on the 26-year-old from Canada. He's played in Dubai, he's played in the Australian League, and now he's at the Romford Raiders. He's on over a point a game at D. We'd like to welcome onto the podcast, Coy Prevost. How are we doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you guys? I hope your Valentine's Day is treating you well. So,
Yeah, we're both single as ever, so enjoying our own company. How's your day been? You been all right?
oh yeah, I've been traveling around London most of the day, and now I'm just back home, getting in a
Yeah.
quick chat with you for this.
Yeah, we appreciate you making the time to come on. How have you found your first season, I believe, in England? How's it been?
It's good. I mean, I always enjoy kind of exploring wherever I am, and England's got a lot to do, especially being so close to London here in Romford. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm enjoying the time. The guys are great, and it's great to kind of get away too on the weekends and
Hmm.
see the rest of the countries.
Was it always a aim of yours to come and play in England one day, or does it just the opportunity come and you're like, yeah, why not? I'll take another opportunity.
Yeah, like I mean, when they had the lockout with the NHL in the early years, and I saw some players come over here, it
Hmm.
always interests me. Of course, all these places that you wouldn't think there'd be hockey.
Hmm.
Um, I just thought it'd be really cool to kind of see the world. And
Hmm.
again, my grandparents, they actually originated over here. So my grandma
Okay.
came from England to Canada when she was about 20.
Okay.
So being able to come over here and kind of see where she grew up, it's really cool.
Yeah, nice. Go on, Charlie.
Yeah, how have you found it since you've started playing in the UK? How's the hockey style been for you?
You know, it's good. It's a little bit less militant than Canada. I mean, it gets pretty serious over in North America with I mean, you're constantly trying to figure out what everybody's doing and their tactics and how you can kind of combat that back and forth. But here it's a little bit more relaxed. But again, you're still playing against very high level players, and I do have a lot of buddies that are playing in the league as well. So
Yeah. Obviously you played in Dubai. Is one of those mates Brennan Feasy? Because he played in Dubai not too long ago as well.
yes, sir, we actually live together over there. So
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Was he another reason why you actually moved over to England?
Originally we were actually skating together before he signed in Bristol. So
Oh,
we were
okay.
both actually going to the Southern Professional League. We were going to go to the same team together
Hmm.
and again continue our partnership. But we we ended up kind of going different ways, and I ended up heading to Knoxville, and he was signed in Fayetteville.
Hmm.
And when things didn't really work out in that league for us, we were skating back in Ontario, near where we went to university together. And so he ended up signing in Bristol, and about, I want to say 2 or 3 days after he left, the Raiders reached out to me and offered me a position. And again, everything just kind of fell into place, and
Yeah.
here we are.
Have you had the chance? Have you had the chance to play him yet? And if so, did you get the win in that game?
Oh yeah, I definitely got the upper hand. So,
And was that sweet feeling?
oh yeah, it's always good in the handshake line, seeing your buddies and kind of having the upper hand. So,
how have you coped with the physicality in our league? Because it's much more physical than the league over in Dubai.
yeah, in comparison to the North American leagues, though, it's a little bit less.
Okay.
With the North American leagues, it's very cutthroat. It's dog eat dog, right? So everybody's just trying to climb that ladder, and so guys are fighting, and you're constantly being bombarded with hits. Whereas here, it's a little bit less. You still have a lot of players trying to make the elite league, but at the same time, they're not all 220-pound monsters that are just out there to try and get their name out there, right? So
Yeah. How would you describe yourself as a player for the people who don't really know too much about you? Because you've played defenseman the majority at Raiders so far, but you can also help out in forward as well.
yeah, so basically I just play wherever I'm needed. If they want me back on defense, I'm definitely more of an offensive defenseman. I played forward a decent part of my life as well, so occasionally I can hop up front, and although I don't really enjoy playing center, I can do that as well. But they put me on the wing sometimes, and I'm able to produce with that as well. I am a bigger body, so I'm definitely able to kind of help out with the physicality and stuff like that as well. So
100%.
Yeah. And I've noticed you've been picking up some goals from D-Man, and you've obviously slotted onto PP1. How's it been being the main guy on the power play, setting up the power play, and being that main offensive defenseman for Raiders? Because we thought they were missing a body like that, and then you came in and you filled that slot for them.
yeah, and again, like I can't say enough about my teammates when it comes to that as well. For me, like I'm a good skating puck moving defenseman, and being able to give the puck to players that can produce as well, it's extremely important to have in that position, right? So I'm grateful I got a lot of good teammates with me that are putting the puck in the net, and if I can do my best to get the puck up and do a majority of the skating and puck moving and try and be a little bit deceptive to get the goalie out of the net so they can have a clearer shot, then that's what I'm going to do. So
how have you found playing with the Raiders? Because they are a very, very fun team to watch. And they finally got a squad together, which, because it's been quite a difficult season before you come in as well. They had trouble with a couple of imports, but they finally got that squad and consistent lines. How have you found playing in that fun team?
it's good. And I mean, being so close to London as well, you're able to draw from a lot of different areas, right? So we have guys traveling from an hour away just to be at practice and stuff like that. So we're a committed group. We got a lot of great guys, and at the same time as well, we're winning. And when you're winning, things are good, right?
Yeah.
So moving up the ladder here, I know we're playing a couple other teams that aren't in the top four. Our last, I think, 5 games have been teams in the top 5, and we've been able to steal some points from them. And again, this next run here is going to be super important. So,
well, you got a
I'm
big
enjoying
8.
my time.
Yeah, you got a big 8-2 win at the weekend, so I'm sure that can help the momentum going into this weekend. Go on, Charlie.
You stopped a team with a 10-win streak, so you didn't go too bad. How's it been playing against teams like Leeds, where obviously Raiders aren't the top team in the league, and having to play against these teams, but competing with them? What was that like? And I'm sure the Romford fans were mental in the game like that.
Oh yeah, it's great. And I mean, I've always loved playing against harder competition for sure. It's more fun when you're blowing teams out. It can get a little bit complacent. So when you're playing the top teams, you always got to be on your toes. And again, limiting your mistakes, whether that be offensively, defensively. It's how the game's played, right? So
Mm.
playing against better players it's only going to make you better.
Yeah. How have you coped with obviously coming in and there's only a few imports? Has that been a difference for you? Obviously playing in other leagues, which there's a lot of people from all different countries.
Yeah, it's a little different, and culturally as well. It's a lot different here, right, than North America or Australia or Abu Dhabi. Like when I first went to Abu Dhabi, it was a very big change, right? You see the different ways people are treated, and just kind of the discrepancy in wealth and stuff like that. It kind of allows other people to have kind of an attitude. So again, coming to England, I had a clear slate and I have nothing but good things to say about it, other than it'd be nice if the sun came out a little bit more.
You should know that before you come down that the sun doesn't come out very often during the season. Go on, Charlie.
You got spoiled in Dubai. You got spoiled in Dubai. Is there anyone in the locker room who had the banter when you came in, who helped settle you in?
All the guys were super good, and uh, I got my couple line mates and stuff that definitely reeled me in and showed me the ropes. Jack Cooper being one of them. Ranson, he's another great
Yeah, we've had
guy.
Jacob on.
Yeah, and like Coops was my D partner for the first little bit. He's a veteran of the league. He's been around, I think, over 700 games. So
He's a
Wow.
Romford legend, yeah.
yeah, to play over 700 games in a league, you're definitely experienced. And yeah, I mean all the guys, Connolly as well, and Ralph and Dewey. I mean I could name all of them, but at the same time, yeah, they're probably gonna give it to me tomorrow for not naming all of them. So
What's it like playing under Sean Easton? Because he obviously got Romford, who are the underdogs of the playoffs, to the final, and they gave Leeds a game right to the end. And you've caused some upsets this season. Obviously, you've just beaten Hull. You beat MK a few weeks ago as well. What's it like playing under Sean? Because he's a really good coach.
yeah, Sean cares a lot about the game, and you'd be totally surprised about how much work behind the scenes that he does as well. Whether it's driving the Zamboni, making sure we have a good sheet of ice, or all the work that he's had to put in over the phone, like it's crazy. So he acts as the equipment manager, the trainer, the GM, the coach.
Wow.
He does it all. So
Yeah,
it's
he's
unbelievable.
he's very very devoted to Romford, isn't he?
So
Yeah.
most definitely.
Have you got any personal goals which you've come into? Obviously coming to England. We know you love to travel. I've seen your Instagram. You love going around. It's really cool, knowing that you love exploring, and London's a great place. But have you got any personal goals to set yourself up?
Well, definitely to make the playoffs here.
Hmm.
I mean, again, coming into this experience, I didn't really have any monetary, or not monetary, numerical goals when it comes to points and stuff like that. Um, I know as an import in this league, you have to produce, and I guess you could say that obviously over a point per game is what I felt like I needed to do as a defenseman. But again, if you're not winning games, if you're not like staying positive in the plus minus, the points really don't matter.
Yeah.
So again, I want to continue to produce personally, but at the same point, if I'm able to help my team win games in any way, that's all I'm here for. So that's my job.
Yeah, you've been here for a few weeks, well, a few months now, I think, and you've played at quite a few different rinks. How have you found adapting to the different sizes and the different bonds? Because I don't know if you've played up in Slough, but you've got a tiny rink, and then you go over to Milton Keynes, and they've got a massive rink. So how have you found adapting to those different rinks?
I've adapted pretty well, and I I put a large amount of that on just playing in so many different bizarre places. I mean,
Yeah,
like you can go from like the Dubai Mall, and then you can go to playing in like the middle of nowhere in Australia, right?
yeah,
And you'd be surprised. A lot of these rinks are fairly run down and have their issues, but again, it just kind of builds that story, and the life experience that you kind of bring in. Like obviously you can relate an arena from Australia to an arena here.
Yeah.
At the same point, every place you go is going to be different, and again, just taking that as it comes.
Yeah.
And yeah, just living the experience.
The English hockey experience.
Yeah.
Go on, Charlie.
Yeah, have you got a memory from Dubai's league which stands out to you? Because it is like so random how there is hockey in Dubai, and I'd love if you've got like a funny story or something from Dubai
I
which
have
just sticks out to you.
I have so many funny stories. We actually, so the captain of our team, we called him King Juma. And this guy, he's in his 40s. He's a solid player for the Abu Dhabi League.
Mm.
And the captain of our team, he had his own dressing room. So the team would dress all together in a room, and this guy had his own room where he'd put his gear on, listen to his own music, and
Wow.
when the game would start, he'd come out, and it was hilarious too, because like you'd be playing and somebody would touch this guy, and it was an immediate penalty. Like you couldn't touch him.
Wow.
He was king of the league. So it was an interesting experience. But again, like with everything happening, you had the war at the time was just picking up. Lots of Russians were coming down and trying to find teams to play on, and yeah, it was just overall a crazy, bizarre experience. And when you add the cultural factor
Yeah.
and again, you're living in the middle of the desert, it's yeah, it's an experience I'll never forget, that's for sure.
We
Maybe
were
get the
actually
king down to Romford. Maybe get the king down to Romford.
yeah,
Yeah.
no one could touch him in Romford.
Yeah.
We've been to Dubai actually. We've been to the mall and seen the ice rink. How weird is it? Just people walking past whilst your game's on, and there's 3 stories high of people just looking down on your game.
Well, it's really funny because you'll get thousands of fans, right? People from all over the world are watching you play while you're over there, and the atmosphere, the environment that you're in is so dense and hot.
Yeah.
I have a story actually of Feezy. We were I think it was the second period of one of our playoff games, and the arena was packed. It was very hot in there, and you sweat a ton. Like you come out of that arena like you've just been in a sauna.
Mhm.
And he went to tape his stick and ripped the tape off the end of his stick, and his thumb peeled right off.
Oh,
That's how wet his skin was.
wow.
So it again, right? You take every experience as it comes, but when you're battling things like that in the middle of a game and you're used to like a cold Canadian arena or whatever,
Yeah.
it's a lot. It's a lot, definitely.
I remember him saying actually, because a lot of people from Dubai didn't really know anything about hockey. After a period ends, they'd think it's the game over and it would all clear, and then it would start up again for the next period, and then you get everyone back again watching the game.
Yeah, for
Go
sure.
on.
It was insane, and some of the arenas too for the sheikhs and the important
Yeah.
like the celebrities and stuff over there, they would have like lawn chairs.
Mhm.
Basically, like these people, they'd just be laying in a lawn chair watching you play, right? It was just bizarre.
And the points are ridiculous over there as well. I think Feezy was on at least 2 points a game, I think.
Oh, it's
Oh yeah,
much
for
over.
sure. Yeah, I think he was sitting at like 3 for sure. I think I was around 3, but I
You
was
got 22
he was
points
the
in
trigger
7
man.
games.
Yeah, he was the trigger man. So
um,
Yeah.
how's it been playing with? Oh, have you been surprised with the level of the hockey in England? Because I know a lot of people don't really see England as a hockey nation, but you've got some great youngsters coming up. You've got Brindley Caps, Tomalin, you've got Pascal as well at the back. So have you been surprised with the level of the British players here?
and not really. Like obviously wherever you go, you're gonna have players that are putting in the work and trying to be better. And again, if you're recruiting players from leagues as good as U Sports, for instance, like
Yeah.
U Sports is a very good league, and it's very kind of hidden to a lot of people. You hear a lot about the NCAA, but I mean, you have U Sports teams that are beating these NCAA teams, and they're older guys, right? More experienced.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys have been through the major junior rings, and with that, you're getting a very, very high quality player. So when I came over here originally, knowing that guys from U Sports and the East Coast and even the Southern Professional League are coming over here and competing, not just blowing the league away, you knew you were getting into a good league. So
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about a Pacific player because he teared us apart when he came down to the Link Center. And you nearly got the win, but thankfully we took it in overtime. Adam Leishram has been unbelievable this season. What's it like playing with him? Obviously came from the U Sports League, like you said. How good has he been? He's been lighting it up.
for sure, yeah, he's a great player, and again, you give him the puck in an area to score, he's going to put it in the net. So it's easy to play with guys when you have that confidence with them, for sure.
Yeah. Moving down to England, have you got a favorite kind of food moving down here? Favorite tradition which you didn't have back in America and Canada?
I mean, not necessarily. I did get kind of a gift basket for a Secret Santa with all the goods,
Oh, nice.
but I got a couple jelly babies, which we don't have.
Okay.
Ball of sticks, which are green candies. Tea cakes,
Yeah,
which
tea
again
cakes.
we don't have those either. But yeah, not really. A few candies. I'm not a big candy guy, so when I was gifted all of them, I kind of experimented and checked it out a little bit. So
Yeah. Any English breakfasts?
I was going to ask that.
yeah, not really. I'm more of a eggs Benedict guy.
Oh,
I
okay.
brought my breakfast over here, so I've been trying to push that on a couple of guys, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's working out so far. So
Yeah.
Uh,
Go on, Charlie.
Wow, yeah, Romford obviously pushing hard. I asked this for a lot of people. What's it like with the goalie Ethan James? Everyone loves him around the league. His afro is the standout point. How has he been obviously keeping you in games?
yeah, he's been great as well. And I mean, when you have that confidence behind you, especially as a defenseman, it allows you to take a couple more risks for sure. Um, but I mean, as a goaltender, he's gonna make that stop, and he's gonna make the stops where you're not expecting it as well. And when you can rely on that, it brings the whole team confidence up, and it allows you to kind of push forward offensively as
Yeah.
well.
I don't think I asked. What do you actually prefer playing? I know you said you can play wherever you need it, but you've got to have a favorite position, surely. Is it defense or forward?
I really don't. I mean, I
Wow.
love playing power play.
Okay.
And when you're on the power play, obviously it's a lot easier
Mm.
to play, I find, as long as you're working hard. Um, but yeah, I really have zero preference.
Have you been surprised at the amount of short-handed goals which have been conceded in this league? I think you got a couple at the weekend as well, didn't you?
Yeah, and I mean that's just like when you're conceding shorthanded goals, especially as an opposing team, a lot of the times it's just little mistakes.
Mm.
Like somebody will hold on to a puck too long, or you'll place the puck in a place where somebody should be, and
Mm.
or the teams just read it, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of the times it's just a mental mistake, and being able to take advantage of that, it's huge. So
Yeah. Go on, Charlie.
Mhm. Do you sorry, no. Oh. I saw a goal on your Instagram. Which one was that one? And was that your favorite one of the year?
no,
Was it the
it wasn't
breakaway one?
it wasn't my favorite, but definitely was emotional. It was an
Yeah.
emotional goal, and at that point in the game, I think that was a tying goal or something. But
Mhm.
and I mean, anytime a defenseman can get a breakaway, it's pretty like it doesn't happen much.
Yeah.
You've got to
So
make the most of it.
yeah. So
It,
I celebrated pretty good. I gave a couple bangs on the glass, and Ron forgot to be loud. And
what's
I
it
mean,
like playing? What's it like playing in front of the Romford fans? Because they can be some of the most intimidating fans as an opposition.
Yeah, it gets really loud in there, and we've been getting a decent crowd. I'd like to see a lot more people because I
Mm.
know we could fill that arena, but
Yeah.
same point with the fans that we do have, it does get very loud in there, and they're all very loyal people. So
Yeah.
it's definitely good to play in that arena, and especially, I mean, you get a few more hundred in there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
guys. Will, so,
Especially closing into playoffs as well.
exactly.
Oh, no one
Is
wants to go to that place at playoffs.
no, I wouldn't want to be in Romford's group for playoffs because how intimidating it is. Has there been any players around the league who you faced who you've been like, wow, they are good players, going to be a tough night playing against them?
Not any player individually. I mean, you have like teams obviously that are stacking up,
Mm.
but at the same point, any team in this league can beat anybody on any night.
Oh yeah.
And I firmly believe that. And a lot of it is just mindset, right? If your team is going into a game thinking that somebody has better statistics or whatnot, then you're already losing in my mind. So again, like being able to kind of push that on the room and push that on the guys around you as well, it definitely helps, especially like you said, when you got younger guys that are coming up, those guys can make just as big of a difference as somebody who's 20, 30 years old in this league. So
Yeah.
you kind of got to instill that in them.
Yeah. Charlie, you always end with this question. I know we just touched on the fans, but go on.
Have you got a message for the Romford fans?
Well, first off, I'd like to see them bring out a couple buddies on Saturday, this coming Saturday at 5:15. Get out to the arena,
Nice.
and again, just wanted to thank them for being so loyal and sticking with us even during the trials and tribulations. And again, we're gonna work our hearts out for you guys, and we hope to see you in the building.
Perfect. Coy, thank you very much for joining us. Thanks for making the time. And we'll have to get you and Brennan on sometime later in the season. I'm sure you've got some cool stories from playing together.
Oh, we do for
Thank you.
sure. Take care.
Right, thank you very much, Prevo, for hopping on. A really chilled interview. Appreciate you hopping on. And yeah, he came on the Wednesday, Charlie, as you mentioned, and they go and bag a 4-point weekend. So if anyone else wants to come on the pod, feel free to message us, and your team will do well at the weekend. That is a guarantee. Let's move on to the Bristol Pitbulls, who got a 4-point weekend, and it's been coming. I felt for their fans, Dan. Well, coming into this year, that they hadn't won a game, I think, since early December. It might have even been
No,
November.
it was the 31st against Swindon.
Oh, of December. Sorry, yeah. So the 31st of December, they hadn't won in the new year. They win on Saturday, and then they back it up with a 4-point weekend. Just unreal for them, isn't it?
Yeah, it's almost like they needed that win to sort of give them a bit of oomph for the
Yeah.
next game, and just to get that weight off their shoulders of that win that they needed. And they managed to get it. They managed to grind it out in overtime.
Yeah.
Get the win. They probably thought a bit of flashbacks of when they were going to bottle it again, but they managed to pull it over the line, and then they managed to win the next time in Telford as well the next day. So yeah, they won't be complaining. They might have their heads a bit higher now for the few games coming up, and they might give that late push. You never know.
Yeah, they are still quite a few points behind Charlie, but positive that their big guys stepped up this weekend. Feezy, Butler, and Ben Norton. Those are the trio, which I think will probably be sticking around next season, maybe. And those are the three which really turned up this weekend. Obviously, Butler getting the overtime winner, assisted by Feezy. You had Norton, who's actually our player of the week, and not many people have talked about him. But you mentioned Charlie, 76 saves in 76 out of 80 saves in two really, really fast-paced games, and they come out with the 4-point weekend, and he is, 20 years old and backing up the team pretty much on his shoulders.
Yeah, he's done well, and they needed that. If they're gonna get some points. They needed a goalie who wasn't going to concede much in a couple of games. I think his head probably dropped from a couple of the last games, and it's good to see a young goalie get some wins. I believe Butler got sent off against Telford, which means he had a good game on the Saturday, not so much Sunday. But yeah, Feezy got some big points. Fair play to the Pitbulls. They were in a rut. The playoffs, let's be honest, they're not going to get them. But it's just about to be honest, picking out what players have worked for them this year and what haven't, and potentially getting rid of some of the bad apples and keeping the good ones. Finding out which ones really do care about the club and which ones really don't. They haven't had a good year, and I do think their squad on paper is better than it is playing, and they showed that this weekend by getting the 4 points, and it's a big result for the club, getting the wins for the boys. But I think it's about picking out what players they really think they should keep and what players maybe they should look to improve on if they want to keep challenging the league. And developing players like Morris, Lipsy, I think they're the future of that club. They're the core players who are going to stick with them. Reece Cox as well. So developing that brick core to drive them to lots of couple wins, and I'm sure they will love a game against Swindon coming up with a bit of wins under their belt. I'm sure they upset us again.
That's a guarantee they've got in the calendar. I've always said it. They always turn up for Swindon. No matter how poor form they're in, they'll always give Swindon a really good game. On the other side of that, the Bees, they did lose to them in overtime. Sorry, my voice is a bit croaky. Did lose to him overtime, but on Sunday, Dan, I know we talked about it a bit earlier, a really, really nice win. And our man Vitali stepping up, 4-point night, 2 goals, 2 assists. Yeah, he was the star of the show. I know Balaz got a goal and Goodbye got a couple assists, but he was the main man on Sunday, wasn't he?
Yeah, 100%. Balaz and Vitali. So Vitali was taking Goodbye's spot with that little partnership there. You had him tipping his hat to Vitali when he passed it across the net on his hat trick. But yeah, I think that's the first time I've seen Vitali really show what he can do this season. Obviously, I don't watch him week in, week out. But it seems like he's been doing good in the past few weekends as well. But seeing it in person was really good to see. I think the Bees needed that third import to sort of give that little push for them. And Vitali seems to be the guy that's doing the job at the minute. Obviously, they got Balaz and Goodbye that are obviously head and shoulders above. But if you have them players like Vitali and stuff that can pick up the points when you need them to, they won't complain with that at all.
The thing I'll say about the Bees, they didn't dominate the game, I don't think. They dominated the power plays, but I think most teams obviously dominate on the power play. Hull were, in terms of possession, they had more of it. But Bees know the rink like the back of their hand. They had many breakouts. They knew where the places were on the ice, which are going to get the chances. One of them, I think it was Vitali. He shot knowing that there was going to be a rebound to Rossbottom, who was the other side. Rossbottom had the empty net and tapped it in. And in the end, they got the result. It looked like Hull were actually going to possibly get that 5th goal and tie it up, send it to overtime. But they did grind it out. And another massive 3 points for them, because if they didn't get those points this weekend, they would have fallen behind the other team, which we'll move on to.
No. I want to just say something.
Sorry, go on, Charlie.
Part of me is really rooting for him. I don't know about this, but I'd love him to sneak in 8th on the final day and then get to the playoffs. Like, just find a way. Like, I'd love it, man. Because something about seeing Ballas just do the Mo Farah every time he scores. It's just one of the most satisfying things in English ice hockey. Yeah, I don't know. I've got a little soft spot for the Bees. I'd really like them to do well. They're a low budget team. There are a lot of lads who just play because they love hockey. We have Wilstead on, and he was such a sound guy. And I really do want the Bees to make playoffs because
we love an underdog story.
They're a cool team, and imagine seeing Ballas in Cov. That's what we want.
Ballas, Goodbye, Vitali, and Cov tearing it up. That would be class.
Also, a shout out for that Sunday game to Danny Rose. I thought he was really good. Yeah, I know Charlie spoke about his work rate a lot, but he literally caused one of them goals because he literally dived across the red line to poke it from the D-man who got it through to, I think it was Vitali, who then passed it across to Ballas.
He was on second line, actually. He was with Vitali and Rossbottom. So a very, very big shift from them two. Obviously, they're used to being on third lines, actually, but they stepped up onto that second line, and I thought they dealt with the whole matchups really, really well. So credit to them. Solway Sharks, MK Lightning, what a weekend, and especially on the Sunday. The first night, Mr. Rory Herman stepping up. He got the tying goal, I think, and then he got the overtime winner as well to beat the Sharks 3-2. I don't think the Sharks would be too disappointed with getting a point. Obviously, they'll be frustrated, But they came back the next night, and it was an unbelievable game, wasn't it, Dan? Were you just getting the notifications? You said we went to the wrong game, didn't we? But the Lightning were winning. Then the Solway came back. Then the Lightning got another 2-goal lead. It was 6-4. Then it got to 6-5. Then they went to 7-5. And Solway at the end just put everything at it. They got it to 7-all. And then no one scored in overtime. Even Herman couldn't do it in overtime. And on penalty shots, Craig Peacock got the winning penalty shot, and Solway get a 3-point weekend. And that's huge for them, isn't it, Charlie? Especially, as you said, because the other teams got points as well.
Yeah, Gardiner is him.
Yeah.
He's sick, man. He's a joke. Dan pointed him out like start of the season off.
Yeah, fair enough, Dan. You got that one.
I was like, are you sure about Gardiner? I was like, he's good, but is he as good as you say? Oh man ripped apart MK this weekend. He would have been my player of the week if it wasn't for Norton having a worldie of a weekend and getting the Pitbulls 4 points. Yeah, I think it was Callie Robertson who tweeted no Goldenia.
Goldenia, yeah.
Which I thought was quite funny. But the Sharks, I think Jamie Macca made the tweet. It's not as easy as they're making it look to be your first season in the National League, and compete the way they are. Hull struggled, Leeds struggled, MK don't count because they already had their core here, and they just came back to that core. So Leeds' first ever time in the league really struggled.
It was the Chiefs, wasn't it?
Yeah, Hull was the same. So it just shows like fair play to the Sharks.
Yeah.
Their import recruitment this year was excellent.
Yeah.
They have Goldenia, who scores every week. They have Dunbar. Well, we knew he was going to do well. And then Arsenu, who's third top point scorer in D. So fair play to the Solway Sharks. It's nice seeing them do well. I like seeing it because I get to see John Strange's great Instagram stories. But it was good. And then for MK, getting 3 points in Solway is not a bad thing. It's a tough place to go to. I think Swindon Wildcats are the only team to go to Solway
except
and win
Leeds.
all 3 games.
Oh no, Leeds lost on pens as well, didn't they?
Yeah, we're the only team to go there and win all 3 games. So it's not an easy task. And I don't think Solway have lost. They've beaten every team in the league in their first year as well, which is always a fun statistic. They've got through every team. So fair play to the Sharks and fair play to MK because not an easy weekend. And they brought loads of fans up, which is always great to see. Fans going up to Scotland. Me and Dan love the trip. I'm jacked as well. It's a great experience, and having them in the league has been amazing. And I'm sure MK fans will think that too.
Yeah, they've got some really good players. It seems like their team's really clicking now as well. Alderson, he's settled in, and Callie Robertson as well fits straight into the team. So, shout out to the Solway commentator as well. I thought he was really cool on the commentary, and I watched the highlights back. The passionate Scots on the comms. So, shout out to him. The final matchup of the weekend was an absolute blowout. The Knights back-to-back against the Phantoms. On the Saturday, they went 6-0 up. Phantoms got 2, but then they got a 7th. So the Knights beat them 7-2 at home. And then on the Sunday, the Knights beat them 7-0. Dan, what's gone wrong for the Phantoms there? I know we got shut out against Sheffield, but wow.
Yeah, I mean, and Phantoms are a team that normally have the big teams, like they normally have their number, but I don't know. This weekend was just totally different for him. Slava wouldn't have been happy with it. Obviously, he doesn't want to be getting shut out in his own rink. And Peterborough is a hard place to go as well. Like they are really good at home. So, and I know Leeds are obviously Leeds, and they obviously do it every time, but. Fair play to Leeds. I mean, I can imagine what the game went like. They were obviously just running their lines and just didn't stop. They didn't hold back. Just kept going. Kieran Brown shooting. You had Finley Braden as well. He got a goal. Fair play to him. And it's just the depth scoring that they have is just really good. And that's why they're where they are.
That's the biggest compliment I can give them this season. Obviously they've got their bigger players, but the depth guys really stepped up this weekend. I think Dylan Hare got a couple points as well. You had Ollie on the score sheet again. You had Finley Braden on the score sheet. I'm correct me if I'm wrong. I think there might have been someone who scored two, but it was pretty much different goal scorers on that Sunday to show how dominant they were. And I think a Leeds fan said that was one of their best, if not their best performance on the Sunday.
Yeah, Leeds are really good.
Really?
Uh,
No way.
End of with Peterborough, they'll go make Coventry. That's what they do. I think,
I
to
don't
be
know.
honest,
It's going to be
I
tough.
do think they've gone on a bit of a cruise control in the league. I do. I think they know that they're kind of solidified in fifth, going into a weekend against the Leeds team who are literally fighting for the league. It's never going to be easy, and I think just wait until we watch Peterborough do a Peterborough and playoffs.
Mm.
They're a really good team with a really good coach, and it wouldn't shock me because this knowing Slava, this is what he does. Most likely, they're going to be in a group with Leeds and Hull. It wouldn't shock me if Leeds come to their place and Leeds are going, "Oh, we've beaten them every game we played them this year," and then Slava shuts them out 3-0 because it's the type of coach he is. So it'll be good, but Leeds are a joke, man. Defensively, they have just taken a
Yeah.
whole this year. Um, they're shutting out teams and they're like conceding like a goal a game at the moment. So yeah, they're
Yeah.
crazy at the moment.
I think, as you said, everyone talks about the offense which Leeds have, but the reason why they are top, and I think I back this to the hills because I think so many teams have been so good offensively. I think the reason is literally their defense, and we know Sam Gospel's good, but you said, Charlie, that their defense has just got so much better from even last season, and they had some really good players last season.
Oh, it's taken a level up from last year. Bo Neely has been unbelievable. McMullen is so good defensively. Griffin as well. Bailey Perry defensive. They're a brick wall, man. They're really solid and they're just a different level of defense to be honest, anyone else in this league. Like
Yeah.
the statistics show that like they don't get into games where they concede more than four. And when you've got the offense of what they've got,
Yeah.
results talk for
You've
themselves.
you've also got a lot of their young players like Griffin and like I said, Bailey Perry's really got a lot more confidence from last year as well.
Yeah.
They've sort of solidified that spot in the team now, and they're really showing that Leeds is their home, and they're proper fighting for that badge. And that's the players that you want, the ones that will fight for everything on their jersey. And
Yeah.
they seem to be loving it there as well.
Yeah, Aldridge has built up a really good team. We're coming to the end now. Just quickly, a stat which I saw on Twitter. Jamie's put it up. Peterborough have got 4 points from a possible 30 against Leeds, MK, and Swindon. So that will have to change if it comes to the playoffs, and I'm sure it will. As you said, Charlie, Slava knows how to set up for those cup games. Quickly, before we end it, the league is looking so tight, especially for that playoff spot. The Tigers on 41 points. The Bees, Raiders, and Solway all on 37 points. I hope this goes down to the wire. This league it just gets better and better, even better than last season. And as every guest we've had has said, everyone can beat everyone, and that showed this weekend. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you, Coy, for coming on as well. And yeah, we'll try and get one for next week. I'm in Canada, but if not, we'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Bye-bye.
See you later.